All right, everybody, welcome to Square Ring Podcast. Today is going to be a little bit of a shorter one that never is.
Yeah, it never is.
I got 3 beers here just in case.
God,
it's not a whole lot.
2 hours, I would probably be a 12-pack in.
Well,
Hey,
I
you get
gotta
any more
still get up
whiskey?
at 4 in the morning, so.
Well, so we're coming to you a couple days after the Royal Rumble. And I don't know if you watched our last video, but who predicted Cody Rhodes was going to win?
Not
Nobody.
me.
I did. So guess I'm the winner. Hey, yeah, he had a pretty good spot. I mean, truly, him and Gunther. I think Gunther stole that fucking Rumble because he was in there the longest, 71 minutes, and I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but it was 70 long minutes because he wasn't. When you looked at the show, a lot of times when they do their moves or something like that, the other guys are laying down or resting. No, that guy was moving throughout the whole match.
I have
And
always
especially,
thought he has got crazy endurance watching him in any of his matches. He
you
just
know,
goes.
and that's so funny because if you look at like old pictures of him, even just a couple years ago, I mean, you're talking about a guy who was probably well over 300 pounds.
Yeah,
You know,
I still accidentally call him Walter all the time. My youngest son's always, "Who are you talking about?" It's like, Gunther, sorry.
right, right. Because so when he was in NXT, Nate, he was called Walter. But since he moved up to the actual WWE, now he's called Gunther. Yeah, so when he was in NXT, he was about 300 pounds, maybe give or take more or less. But he was a big boy. And then rumors started spreading that, they liked him, wanted to push him, but he weighed too much. Because he's not like a big guy that muscle mass looked good on him or carried his fat in good spots where it hit it. You could he wears the shorts, not what would you call it, because it's not a singlet, it's more of like the bottom half,
Yeah,
so
like the
his like
biker short type deal.
yeah, so his chest was out so you can see where he was holding his weight. So rumors got around that they gave him an ultimatum. You either lose some weight, get in shape, or we might let you go. Well, I mean, total transformation. I mean, because he looks great now, and
Yeah.
such a Billy badass too. Because throughout the last few months, him and Sheamus have been going at it, and I tell you, that's like bringing the old school back into the WWE. It's something that's been missing. I mean, the Rumble did have its spots where even I on social media was like, "Man, they're not hitting each other. They're like giving love taps." But not Gunther. Gunther was putting everything in there. Even with Cody Rhodes coming back from that pec tear, he still lit him up, and he lit him up all in the pec. I mean,
Try to tear it back off.
right. I mean, I guess what they always say that when you have an injury, that is the point of target for your opponent.
Oh,
They they smell that weakness, and yeah, Gunther let him have it because even after the Rumble, Big Shot, Cody Rhodes won, but after the Rumble, they were doing interviews with Cody Rhodes, and his pec, the one that was just surgically fixed, was redder than a fucking stop sign. So I mean, he let him have it, but I gotta say props to Cody Rhodes because they're building on a story. Him leaving AEW because he didn't win the big one in the WWE, and now he's here and he's going to win the big one, and now he's got the opportunity since he won the Rumble that automatically gives him a shot at the champion at WrestleMania, which is the biggest stage. So you got that storyline going, which is pretty good. but I think Gunther is the one that actually won, that night, because it just showed one. He's got the stamina. Everyone talks about the olden days where Ric Flair would go an hour and then drive to another city, go an hour that night. Well, Gunther has pretty much shown that he can go that hour, because he went an hour and 11 minutes, and I know there were so many seconds after that, but so he's you can tell he's old school. I mean, even his matches, um, but that's like that British style, because he was NXT UK,
Yeah.
and they are known for that hard hitting, almost like a Japanese style wrestling, where everything is in there, and if you can't take the heat, get out of the damn ring. So it's nice to see some of that coming back, and even with Sheamus, I did have. He was one of them that was doing the love taps sometimes, but he can put them in there because the matches that those two have had, going before the Rumble. But there was a lot of like, man, what are they doing in there? Um, honestly though, I didn't see a lot of that in the girls' Rumble. The girls' Rumble was. I'm not. I'm the first one I met. I'm not a big WWE fan. I haven't really watched them consecutively. I mean, since the Rumble, well, before the Rumble, the last time I watched a program, and I didn't even watch a whole program. We were in Vegas at the CAC, and I literally was up in our hotel room for maybe an hour. I was on a beer run, and the beer was in the hotel room. So I went up, and I knew it was Monday night, so I figured I'd just turn it on just to see what was going on. I couldn't even tell you who was wrestling. Um, but, I mean, that was, 5 months ago?
See, you said the show, last show you watched was at College for Club. I thought you were going to talk about that awesome show with Michael Jackson.
Oh, if you guys want to see that, I have it on TikTok, so just search me out. I think I have it on YouTube as well. So if you want to go to the other YouTube channel, Jim the Big Texan Hoffarth, you can see the Michael Jackson match. There's like three
There
parts
was
to that.
another one with some devil horns and
I posted that one too.
some
It's
kind
on
of
there.
weird, like, dominatrix outfit a guy's wearing.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I guess happens in Vegas and supposed to stay in Vegas.
And then
Maybe.
Jim puts it on TikTok.
And then I put it on TikTok and YouTube. I mean, the fans were into it, so I mean, but then again, this is Vegas fans.
I was gonna say his wrestling wasn't bad, but it was just like, what is he wearing? And it was confusing.
Gold Dust, right? Nate, you know who Gold Dust is?
Yep.
All right, so Gold Dust used to come out after he was Gold Dust. He started like transforming into the artist formerly known as Gold Dust, and he would come out in ladies' lingerie. So he would like totally just not wear his suit that he would used to wear as Gold Dust. It was like lingerie and different outfits like that. Well, that's what this guy was wearing in Vegas, and it was just, I mean, he worked the character. I can tell you that.
Well, he was working those ropes when I saw on your video.
Right? Yeah, he worked the ropes.
You think it was a character?
I don't
Really,
know.
he had those little prostitution flyer cards you could have got.
He was doing it well, though, so he was killing it.
Yeah, it was shocking, but like I said, I guess it was in Vegas. So, but the Michael Jackson, I thought that was kind of cool.
He did look a
I've
lot
heard about
like
him. I heard about him before, and I've seen videos of him before, but I actually see him in person. I mean, he's a dead ringer for Michael Jackson. And he even pulls off the moves inside the ring too, besides wrestling moves. But he was able to pull off, the moonwalk and where he walked across the ropes, and yeah, it was just pretty cool. It was different, something new to see, and stories to talk about. So, but yeah, so that was the last time I seen WWE, except for the Royal Rumble this past weekend. I do want to say that normally I'm a fan of Bray Wyatt, but I didn't even see the match because I was off screen. I was talking to Bobby about how I went to go get some food out of the kitchen, and by the time I got back, the match was already over.
As good old JR would say, quicker than a hiccup.
Yeah. And I heard it wasn't the best match in the world, and it kind of ended weird because LA King, I think it was his name.
LA Knight.
LA Knight, he wasn't even pinned. He had the ultra version of, what was his name? Uncle something.
Uncle Howdy.
Uncle Howdy. He was on this platform above Bray, and he came off with a back elbow onto LA Knight, and that's how they ended it. So Bray didn't even get a pin. I don't know
That
what.
doesn't even qualify for a match, does it? If you don't get a pin, it doesn't qualify, right?
I would
Pin,
assume not,
submission,
but
DQ,
the
something.
bell did ring, so technically the match started. So I guess maybe the match hasn't ended yet. So, it's Wednesday night, so that match is still going on. Maybe. I
Legend
don't
have
know.
it.
But
Now I am
That
taking my guess though. Watched Uncle Howdy walk to the ring that one time. I swear that's Cameron Grimes under there.
oh, I was just hearing the rumors that it was Bray's brother, Bo.
Oh, that'd be
Uh,
cool if he was back. He was a really good wrestler too.
Very underrated. And I think he was either the second NXT champion or the third NXT champion, but he was
I
right
thought he
up
was the
there.
first.
Nope, Seth Rollins was the first.
I thought Seth Rollins was still Florida Championship. I didn't think it was transitioned to NXT yet.
So there was no NXT until, well, now you got me thinking here.
Yeah, I thought he was the last Florida Championship wrestling before they transitioned.
Now I'm gonna have to
I
dig into
thought Bo
that.
Dallas was the first.
How's that internet scoop doing? Are you searching that?
Oh, he's going.
Seth Rollins in 2012 defeated Mahal.
That doesn't sound right.
Seth Rollins became the inaugural NXT champion by defeating Mahal in the tournament finals on June 26,
Okay.
2012.
So I was correct again, so it's all right. I just didn't know Mahal was in NXT. I thought
Yeah,
for sure Mahal was already up in WWE. Maybe they put him down or something
I'd say
to,
he might have gone back down.
to kick it off or something.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know.
side note, whenever I talk about Seth Rollins, I always got to talk about his first character, Tyler Black.
Yeah,
That's what he was on the indie circuit. Um, and there was actually, I have the film footage where I actually refed one of his matches. We were, this is on Independence, and we all come to this wrestling show. It was put on by a couple bookers, well, a couple promoters, but the main promoter didn't show up. The ring was there. It was like an hour before the show was supposed to start. So us wrestlers actually put the ring together. Um, there was no referees. There was no. The whole thing was just like the promoter booked the building and put the posters up, and then that was it. And then this other promoter was the one that was paying people and supposed to be taking over, I guess. But either way, it got all screwed up. So the wrestlers put the ring up, we were changing in the bathroom, so the fans can go in and out of the bathroom while we're in there, changing. It was just horribly, but and then we end up getting a dressing room, but and it was just like I guess it was a decent sized room, and I don't know why we didn't have it from the beginning. I guess we bitched enough where we got something. But there, like I said, there was no referees. So the promoter goes, "Is there anyone here that would like to night off from wrestling and actually be the ref?" And kind of as a joke, I was like, "Sure, I'll be the ref." Now, when I say as a joke, I am the biggest guy in the locker room. Height, girth. I am the biggest boy, and no one else wanted to be the ref, so I refed all the matches that night. So you had the biggest, the biggest guy in the ring was the ref. It looks so awkward. But so I refed all the matches that night, and so I refed one of Tyler Black's matches, and that was, I wish I could remember his opponent's name, because he too was in the WWE, but he was on the creative side. He was a shorter wrestler, and you know how back then WWE/F didn't like short wrestlers. You had to be 6 foot something to get your push. So he was working the creative side. But anyway, back in the independents, though, evidently they were really good friends at the time. And the one, I can't remember his name, evidently just broke up with his other girl. And then he found out Tyler Black was actually seeing her on the down low. And so in the back, they got all pissed off at each other. And Tyler had his cell phone on him, and this other gentleman grabbed his cell phone and threw it across the room, and it just shatters. And I still remember it to this day. And I'm sure if I know where the tape is, but I'm stuck with one of those tapes that you don't have a camcorder anymore for it, and you don't. It doesn't fit in the VCR because it's the small tapes. Because I would love to get that thing on a DVD or some sort of format so I can see it again. Because I even had the old D's in it. So Frankie D was in it, and then his old tag team partner, one of the other D's. I can't. There's so
Billy
many
D.
other D's. I think it was Billy D.
Yeah, he was teaming with Billy at the time.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just a really good show too. It's so weird because it was put on basically by us wrestlers. Because if it wasn't for us, the show wouldn't even. I mean, the ring wouldn't even been put together. So I mean, that's how crazy it is. But and there's some other people on that show that I want to say was in Ring of Honor too. So we all kind of went our separate ways, but definitely Tyler Black / Seth Rollins definitely made it the furthest than all of us. But I would still love to see the match because he used to do this. There's other videos of him doing this, but there's a spot where both competitors would be outside the ring, and he would use another, like a security guard, to do a backflip off of. Like he would literally run and then run up the guy and then flip backwards and strike the opponent. So it's kind of cool. He was a really awesome independent wrestler. And it's just so cool that I was able to ref his match. It was so cool that I was able to ref any matches, being the biggest guy on the card. So it's so
Those
funny.
matches look kind of weird for that.
Right? Because half the guys would come up to my chest. Tyler, at least Tyler was tall. And he was really skinny back then because he wasn't eating, because when you're independent, traveling all around the world, you're not making that much. So anything that you're making is really going into the gas tank so you can go to the next town. So you're starving. Like Steve Austin used to say on his videos when he first started, he was eating cans of tuna and raw potatoes. If he was in a good spot, he would try to cook the potato. But if it was something that he just had to have something to eat and to try to make it to the next town, he would just eat it like an apple.
And the
Crazy.
starch is, yeah, the starch in
Yeah,
your
but
mouth and doing that.
see, that's the thing. When you're not, wrestling, you get paid by where you are on the card. You get paid by how many people are in the audience. You get paid by your name. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes into it. So when you first start being a wrestler, you're not making a whole lot, and you better have a job during the day, and you try and hit the stuff on the weekends until you can come out with some money that you can start hitting the ones that run on a Monday or a Tuesday where you can try to make a living off of it. But you weren't
Well, you
making
and Claudia
much.
make the big bucks.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we can always make a little bit more, right, Herb?
Oh yeah.
But so you weren't making much, so you didn't eat a whole lot. You just tried to make it to the next town.
And
But
them bags of potatoes are 10 pounds for $3.
right, you get $25 for the match. You can get a couple cans of tuna and a bag of potatoes and some gas.
And a little bit of salt for them raw potatoes.
Now you're pushing it. Might have to go somewhere and get the free salt packets.
Right. Stop by McDonald's and grab a shaker.
I
But
can see Austin running through there going, "Who's grabbing the shaker?"
The Rumble guys match I think was pretty decent. It had its rough spots. The girls Rumble I think was pretty good. They had some surprise entrants. The guys Rumble, I mean, not really. I mean, you had Booker T, but Booker T's face is still shown in the WWE. He does all the opening hour before the show starts. He does the opening. So to me, it wasn't a surprise because you still see his face. When I'm talking about a surprise entrant, it's someone that you haven't seen in forever.
Someone you wouldn't
Uh,
expect.
yeah, someone you wouldn't expect. But yeah, so the guys really didn't have it. The girls, they had a couple. Undertaker's wife was in the crowd, and she announced on social media like 9 days before the show that she wasn't invited into the Rumble, but she was going to be there. Um, and so, they played her music. And so she jumped over the barrier and ran in there and
And she
participated.
still look good doing it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And, after the Rumble, she did announce, she didn't lie to anyone that 9 days ago she wasn't invited, but it was like 3 days prior that they gave her let's get you in there. And then, let's see. I mean, the biggest one was Nia Jax. She had been let go damn near 2 years ago, I think, right at the beginning of COVID, because I know she was one of the wrestlers that did not want to. I mean, we're not going to touch this subject, but she didn't want to get the jab. And when they were touring different cities still, before they cut the audience away, they let her go. Uh, and she was dealing with some mental health problems too, because she was on a break and she asked for a longer break, and they just put two to two together and said, you know what, no, we're gonna let you go. But so she came back in the Rumble, and it looks like she might be here to stay at least for a while, because they're already talking about how there's already shirts that you can buy with her name on it, and
Wasn't she
normally they
also
don't do
hurting
that.
people when she was here last time too?
Well, see, that's the thing too, because you don't know, because I know supposedly she got a little rough with Flair. She got a
Rough
little
stuff.
rough with Charlotte Flair, and then what was the other one? The Becky.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, you don't know if it was a legit roughness or what. I mean, I don't know. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it could have been a combination. But either way, it looks like she's here to stay because the machine wouldn't get behind her and getting her new T-shirts out if it was just for one night, because they wouldn't make any money off of it. And then Matt Cardona's wife, I can't think of her name. You know how it is. I always blame my steel chair shots because it always seems to come to me, but initially I lose track of it.
No, Alzheimer's, you'll come around.
But Matt Cardona, his wife, she came in and she actually set a record because literally she came into the Rumble and exited the Rumble so quick that actually set a record for entering and exiting.
Oh, you're talking the TNA Knockouts champion.
No, that's Mickey James. And that's not his wife.
Was she a former champion then?
No.
There was someone I didn't recognize, and I looked her up, and I thought it said she was a TNA champ or an Impact champion.
I mean, she was in Impact, and she's been in as recently NWA. Man, and I watched their YouTube channel too. That's Mr. Computer Wizard. Search Matt Cardona's wife and see what her name is. Because I don't know how many seconds, but they said it was like a record, and it might be just for the girls' Rumble. Because I know, the Bushwhackers, one of them had that record for a while, and then Santino Morello had that record. I'm not too sure if it's changed for the guys, but
I thought Morella still had it.
yeah, but I can't believe I can't think of her name. If I had access to my phone, I would use it, but since we're using my phone. But anyway, so the girls' Rumble is pretty good. Rhea.
Chelsea Green?
Yeah, Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green? Is it Chelsea?
Yep. Can't believe I forgot her name. But yeah, so she was in and out.
You know all the girls, Bobby. How come you didn't know that one?
I recognize her. I don't know her name. I know her by her measurements.
Oh, well, she doesn't have that many. Well, I guess she's been fixed of her measurements, so she's got measurements now, but she didn't used to. So that's probably why Bobby didn't recognize her.
Oh, yeah. She's had some enhancement.
Enhancement, yeah. I was searching for that word.
Doesn't look bad.
But her name is Rhea Ripley, right?
Yeah.
She's the one that won the Rumble. And
Not a
I
fan.
tell you, huh?
Not nice.
A fan. Oh, not a fan?
Not a fan.
So when she first started this gimmick of being like the darker edge, I was not a fan. But just watching the Rumble, though, I started to become a fan of hers. It's weird. I mean, the whole thing with Dominic Mysterio, that whole I'm your mommy or mama or whatever, that's
no,
bizarre.
they're trying to pull the Eddie stuff where Eddie in China, Mamacita, and all that shit stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me. But her wrestling abilities, at least in the Rumble, won me over for her winning the match. I'll just say it like that.
So Bobby was a fan when she was a blonde, and you're a fan now that she's butch.
I wouldn't even say I'm a
that.
fan. I'm just saying that her wrestling skills that night was good. Because she even she calls it something else, but basically it's a pump-handled slam to Nia Jax. And Nia Jax is, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I'm thinking she's tipping. Yeah, she's a pretty big girl. We'll just be polite, I guess. But she was able to do that to her, so that's kind of crazy. I mean, it was a little slow animated, but she still was able to pull it off.
So, you know the saying, she ain't no lady unless she's 280? She's a lady.
That she is. And then the whole Roman match. I mean that was good storytelling. I think.
Yeah.
That KO Kevin Owens. Dragging Sami Zayn in the middle of it. What side is he going to pull for? He's got history with KO, but same time he's trying to go places with Roman. And the twist was Jay, backing down and leaving the ring. That was the whole twist. So Roman has got the bloodline going. It's Roman Reigns. It's the Uso brothers. And it's who's the newest one with the spike?
Solo Sokola.
Yeah, what he said. So it's the four of them.
The golden tongue there, Bobby. Ooh, the girls love you.
Well, that's a dude. So, but so
No,
I mean,
I'm
they
just
got a
talking
good.
about the way that he's speaking.
Oh, the way he's speaking.
Yeah, the girls love him.
There you go. You got that to look forward to, Bobby. But so I mean, they have a good storyline with the bloodline going through, and everyone thinks that The Rock could be his opponent at WrestleMania 2. So I don't know how that's going to work out with Cody Rhodes being in the mix now. Maybe.
Yeah, I read
to
a
get
report
into
that The Rock
shape.
said he was too far out of shape, ring shape, and wasn't going to do it.
Yeah. Again, I think we touched it on the subject last week. There ain't no way he's out of ring shape. If he knew there was money to be made,
travels with 40,000 pounds worth of weights everywhere he
right,
goes.
It's a
right.
different shape, though.
It is.
I'm not saying he's not strong and doesn't have endurance, but
It is a
hitting all
different
them
shape.
bumps in the ring again.
But I'm saying that if he wanted to, he could make himself in ring shape.
He could, but does he truly want to?
Well, Triple H kind of hinted at it that he wasn't confirming it, but he wasn't denying it either. So, what I'm thinking, and just like the whole Cody Rhodes story, I'm thinking if The Rock does come back for WrestleMania, they're going to make Roman Reigns wrestle twice. Once with Cody and then once with The Rock. And then that's going to be how maybe they do The Rock first. And that's
Split the
how
titles.
Reigns is, worn down. And then Cody's able to go in there and steal one of the belts. But, so Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion. Basically, he's got two belts. He's got the Raw belt and he's got the SmackDown belt. So, I mean, it's just a theory. Maybe they'll make him wrestle twice. But anyway, The Rock and Roman would be fighting over who's the head of the table, basically, because it's the same bloodline. And even Nia Jax is part of that bloodline. Rikishi's part of that bloodline. I mean, it goes way back. Head Shrinkers, Rocky Maivia. I mean, the list is crazy long of who's all in that bloodline. Maybe that's how the scenario is going to go, I would think. But anyhow, the match was good. They handcuffed Kevin Owens against the rope and basically just beat him with a chair and super kicks. A lot of super kicks. And that turned Sammy to hate Roman. So then they turned on Sammy, beat him down.
They tried to get Sammy to hit him with the chair, too. And that's where Sammy drew the line.
Yep. And then one of the Bloodline members, Jay, actually stopped and didn't participate once Sammy was being beaten down and actually left. So it's a good twist because you didn't think one of the actual Bloodline members would turn. Well, he didn't even turn on them per se. He just left the situation. But so that's my rundown of the Royal Rumble. I mean, it's on Peacock, so anytime you guys can stop and watch and rewatch. But
And the WWE YouTube channel, they throw some matches on every now and then too. So
right. I would
But if you're
actually
gonna go
give.
there, you better come to ours and subscribe.
I would give
Come to ours
the
first.
pay-per-view probably a B minus, just because I think there's some things they could have fixed, like throwing some people into the men's rumble. Um, I'm not I'm not excited about Dominic Mysterio being in there, and the angle where Rey Mysterio was number 17. Of course, he didn't show, and then Dominic was number 18. He comes out with Rey's mask and trying to act out like he beat Ray down, and that's why Ray didn't show up. And then the funny part is he was trying to rip Ray's mask in two, and he couldn't do it. But I'm just not sold on him being a wrestler yet. He's just, I mean, he's probably good. He hasn't sold me on himself yet.
Sounds like he needs to find a weight room.
Yeah, I mean, he is pretty skinny. Granted, he's taller than his dad, but yeah, he's pretty skinny. I didn't steal it per se, but I do a lot of research online, and I've been trying to teach one of my students how to do a kip up, and Dominic Mysterio, believe it or not, there's a video of him teaching a different way to do it, and so I actually did steal that clip and bring it to my students and try to get them to do it that way.
You sampled
Get
it.
it the other way, huh?
You sampled it because that's what everybody says now. It's not stealing, it's sampling.
Well, I didn't steal it per se because there ain't no way I'm doing a kip up.
I think you should
But-
try it.
I used the way he did it to help my students out to see if they could do it. And the one that I was working on the most, he was able to do it twice that night. It took him a few attempts, and it wasn't a really clean one, but he was able to do it twice. And it's just going to be like anything, repetition is going to get him there. So.
Well, we'll show
Well,
up
Might
at
have to try to learn it.
we'll show up at Bobby Orton's Ace Academy where you're the head trainer. If you're going to be trying one of those, I'll be there to film it. Not a problem.
Well. I'm going to take you back. I'm not a head trainer. I'm a trainer. There's two of us technically, Sean Vincent and then I. We have separate nights, and then of course Bob is there both nights. Because Bob would be considered the head trainer. So I'll just throw that out there just to make it all respectful.
Well, we don't want to take away from Bob. So
Yeah. Because I'll tell you, even last night, today's Wednesday, so it was last night that I was with my students. It's the small things that Bob brings out in like matches or different ways. Like I was trying to teach them the O'Connor roll, which is, in my eyes, was a very simple roll. It's a pinning combination, basically. You're pushing your opponent to the ropes, then you're flipping backwards with your opponent and kind of rolling them up where you're on top of them by like a cradle type a look.
Bobby, didn't you do that against Prater one time?
No. I might have done a
Yeah.
schoolboy or maybe even tried a small package, but not an O'Connor roll.
Yeah, Prater's got too much girth to be able to roll him up and be able to manage to get on top of him. But so I mean, Bob, me and him were both like looking like, how can we get them in a different position where they can do this? And Bob hopped right up there and said, "This is why I want you to try." And the very first time they tried it, they got it. So I mean, it was just a simple it's a simple move. But last night, anytime you're dealing with students, like one has a bad night, and sometimes it rubs off on the other ones. So like if one can't get it. Now, the other ones could get it every single time they tried the week before, but now no one can get it. But it took, Bob getting up in the ring and explaining to them what he wanted them to do, and then they were able, all of a sudden, it all snapped together and they were able to do it. But it happened like that on a couple different moves last night. So I don't know if it was just a rough start, um, but it was pretty good. And I got a shout out to Bob anyway, because Brandon Beretta, King Beretta, Top Gun Beretta, tried out for the NWA over this past weekend as well. And when you try out, they have you do some promos, and then they have you do a match. And we've been calling this move. It's basically a go behind, but we've been calling this move the Ace Breaker. It's just something that Bob seen how the guys were doing, like a reverse waist lock, or even just how to break out of a waist lock. And it's just little things that Bob puts in there. And the way he showed me how to break out of this waist lock, and then me teach the students, Brandon put that in his match. And it's just a simple move, just a simple, breaking of the guy's arms that are around you. And he said that the NWA guys just flipped out. Like they never seen that before, except for in old videos. It was like, well, when you got a legend teaching, you're going to have the little things put back into these matches.
Someone who made the old videos.
Right, right. So I mean, it's really cool being a trainer down there. Now every once in a while we have people coming in, like Bobby's come in a few nights. So it's nice to get a different perspective. Big guy, smaller guy. Don't want to discriminate, but a smaller guy come in there with actually wrestle. I mean, all hands down, I always give Bobby the props. He's a better wrestler than I am. But I'm just a big brute, so that's what gets me where I'm at. But Bobby can probably out wrestle me, no problem. It's just that being a big guy, if I ever get my hands on him, then that's when Bobby would have a problem. Even though we've wrestled even, pretty recently, and it's pretty good matches. You got that family member stress that you want to get out on each other,
It usually gets pretty physical.
Right. But anyway, so the Rumble was good. The ladies' Rumble was good. The whole, like I said, it was probably about a B minus. I really wanted some older wrestlers just to hop into the Rumble and give us a little shock